So we kind of went over the beginnings of all of this yesterday, and I don't want to belabor the point. You all know the story, right? Joe Biden's the only candidate that they've got because they can't skip Kamala, and she's damaged goods. She's bad goods. She's no good. She's more unlikable than Hillary Clinton, if you can believe it. But sadly, Joe Biden became so infirm and unable to just regurgitate lines standing on a stage, and he was dispatched of so completely and totally. He was destroyed so totally during the debate on June 27th, something that the mainstream media will not give Donald Trump credit for, that they realized they had to make a change. Otherwise, they're just going to get destroyed. They're at their lowest of their low, and they decide, well, we have to go with Kamala here because Joe can't get us across the finish line. He can't even finish the run. Even if he's going to lose, he couldn't finish the run. So they move her into position, but they have to figure out how to do this and how they're going to run on this. Now, as a way to remind you of politics past, because I know some of you came into politics in the 2010s, maybe 2015, 2016, and perhaps you did not or were not aware or did not experience the Barack Obama campaign of 2008. We are reliving the Barack Obama campaign of 2008. Barack Obama was described as a transformational figure. Barack Obama was described and was actually a dynamic speaker. He could give a hell of a stump speech. He could stand on stage, and I remember this, and I'll give him credit for it. I mean, make no bones about it. Barack Obama was the first president to initiate what he called the fundamental transformation of the United States of America. And he wasn't lying to you. That was one of the few times he didn't. Barack Obama campaigned on nothing. Nothing. He would not give a definitive answer on just about anything. All he would tell you is that healthcare, he would tell you everything that wasn't working in American society. And this campaign strategy worked because George W. Bush was president. And it particularly worked because of all that happened in the financial sector in 2008. With the housing industry crumbling and the banks became too big to fail, and that was a rallying cry for everybody. It was a disgusting example of big government coming in to save big business. Many of those banks never should have been allowed to be saved, by the way. And I understand that the argument was that they saved human beings and saved lives or whatever. You never, ever, ever should allow an industry to be saved by government when that industry did to itself what created the dynamic by which it was going to fail. And the banking industry did so because they got greedy, because the government let them get greedy. But I don't want to get sidetracked on that. Whatever the issue was, Barack Obama campaigned on it can be better. We can do better. We can do more. And he never had anything definitive to say about really anything. Except hope and change. Y'all remember? Hope and change. That was the model of the campaign. Hope and change. What does that mean? Nothing. It indicates that you don't have any power over your set of circumstances, hope, and that we're going to do something different, change. Well, Kamala Harris is campaigning on essentially the same thing, except it's in reverse. Kamala Harris's campaign strategy is change and hope, not hope and change. Because what she's doing, she's well established where she is on a lot of these issues. She was not as squirrely or as squirmy in the United States Senate as Barack Obama was. She was not as squirrely and as squirmy as vice president as Barack Obama was on the campaign trail. Maybe she didn't realize that she would need to repair her record so quickly because they thought Joe Biden would make it across the finish line. But now her real campaign position is to change her position on check notes here, everything, and hope you don't notice. Now, tell me I'm wrong that Kamala Harris's campaign slogan should not be change and hope, as opposed to hope and change. I mean, hell, the Obama people are running it. From Susan Rice to Klein to, what's her name, Valerie Jarrett, to Obama himself, the suggestion is that they took over this deal to repair Kamala Harris, to reclaim candidate zero, which represents the number of votes she's ever gotten for president of the United States of America in a primary or general election. They are going to run on the idea of changing her position on everything and hope the media doesn't tell you and hope that enough people don't notice. And we have example after example after example. The latest being the border wall. And it's perhaps the most obvious and egregious, and one wonders if the media will continue to ignore this issue like they have ignored most of the flip-flopping by Kamala Harris. And remember, you're allowed to change your position on an issue. You're allowed to change your mind in politics and in life. No one begrudges anyone the ability to change their mind. But if you're asking for something from us, a vote, then you deserve, or we deserve, I should say, the ability to hear why. And they are so ego-driven, egomaniacal, narcissistic, that they believe they can, and remember the rules for liberals, they think you're stupid, they overplay their hand. They think you're dumb enough that you won't really notice if the media plays along. Will they? I don't know. I've seen some cracks in that armor. I've seen some cracks in the mortar joints, suggesting that the media is getting a little bit of a belly full of this nonsense coming out of the Harris-Walz ticket without any reasonable explanation for why they're changing their position on so many issues. And the liberals are suspiciously quiet about this. I suppose their hatred, the dynamic is this, and this is the election year calculus, that the true believers hate Donald Trump so much that Kamala Harris could say anything and get away with it. That's what they believe. They believe that for 40% of the United States of America, Kamala Harris could come out on stage and declare that she's going to try to assassinate Donald Trump again, God forbid, and that the true believers, hey, yay, woo! They're trying to convert other people that are paying attention enough that they hear what she's saying, but are dumb enough that they don't do their own research and recognize what's happening. Kamala Harris came out yesterday, her team, not her, because she doesn't give interviews, she's too high and mighty for that, and said that she's always been for a border wall. How dumb do they think we are? I mean, pretty dumb, I suppose.